Book review: The Investigator by John Sandford. John Sandford, best known for his long-running prose series starring Lucas Davenport, takes a bold step in The Investigator, launching a new series centered on Davenport's adopted daughter Letty with the familiar pacing, wit, and political intrigue that longtime readers have come to expect. The Investigator introduces fresh, formidable heroine poised to take on the modern threats of domestic terrorism, cybercrime. In this first installment, Sandford offers both satisfying procedural and nuanced portrait of a young woman stepping into her own. Plot summary: in The Investigator, John Sandford introduces readers to Letty Davenport, a sharp, fearless, and brilliant young woman with a powerful lineage. She's the adopted daughter of Lucas Davenport, the iconic U.S. Marshal from Sandford's prose series. Letty has grown up in the shadow of her father's reputation but is determined to carve her own path. After finishing college and briefly working in the private sector, she finds herself restless and yearning for work that matters. When an opportunity opens in government office in Washington, D.C., Letty seizes it. Letty works as an investigator for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, assigned to special analytical unit run by Senator Christopher Calls, a Texas politician with a strong interest in energy security. The senator suspects that oil is being stolen from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve and sold on the black market. He tasks Letty with uncovering who's behind the operation. She teams up with DHS investigator John Kaiser, seasoned field agent, and the two set off for Texas, where the trail begins. Their investigation quickly escalates beyond financial fraud. Letty and Kaiser uncover far-reaching conspiracy involving domestic extremists with a radical anti-government agenda. These militants just stealing oil. They're using the profits to fund violent insurrection against the federal government. The plot centers around charismatic but dangerous leader who's assembling private militia in the Texas wilderness. Their ultimate goal: large-scale terrorist attack meant to send shockwaves across the country and destabilize democratic institutions. As Letty digs deeper, her intelligence and fearlessness come to the fore. She proves adept at everything from forensic finance to tactical fieldwork. Along the way, she navigates tense interrogations, stakeouts, and violent confrontations. Sandford balances action and suspense. Letty's dry wit and sharp observations, painting her as protagonist as compelling as her adoptive father. Letty and Kaiser track the extremists through backchannels and rural hideouts. Along the way, Letty must make difficult moral and tactical decisions. Her experience grows rapidly as she confronts people willing to kill for their beliefs. As the terrorists move forward with the deadly plot to cripple a major oil pipeline and assassinate key officials, Letty and Kaiser race against the clock to stop them. Their pursuit takes them from high-level meetings in D.C. to dangerous terrain in the American South and Southwest. A pivotal moment comes when Letty goes undercover to infiltrate the extremist group. She poses as a sympathizer and gains access to their camp, putting herself in grave danger. Her intelligence work is crucial in uncovering the group's plan and providing evidence to Homeland Security. The final confrontation is explosive, with tense standoff that showcases Letty's resourcefulness, bravery, and quick thinking. In the aftermath, Letty earns the respect of her peers and superiors. Though still young and new to the world of national security, her actions prove that she's more than just Lucas Davenport's daughter. She's forced to be reckoned with, and her success suggests she has a promising career ahead in intelligence and law enforcement. The Investigator is a fast-paced political thriller that introduces strong new heroine to the world of crime fiction. Letty Davenport is complex, capable protagonist who bridges the world of high-tech analysis and boots-on-the-ground investigation. With its rip-from-the-headlines premise, crisp dialogue, and explosive action scenes, Sandford's novel sets the stage for a gripping new series. Letty's voice is fresh, confident, and uncompromising, making her an exciting addition to the universe fans of Sandford already love. As the first entry in her own series, The Investigator lays the groundwork for future exploits, offering readers a blend of classic Sandford thrills with a bold modern twist. A new generation of just as Letty Davenport has been a peripheral presence in the prey novels since she was first introduced as a smart, sharp-tongued teenager. In The Investigator, she steps into the spotlight, working for the Department of Homeland Security as a investigator under the patronage of Texas Senator Christopher Calls. Letty is no rookie. Her intellect, self-possession, and ethical center are all clearly established, but she's still learning how to navigate the field both literally and metaphorically. Right from the opening chapters, Sandford positions Letty not as a psychic or mere offspring of a beloved character, but as the protagonist in her own right. Letty is cut from the same cloth as Lucas, driven, observant, and more than a little dangerous when provoked. But she is also distinct. Cooler in some ways, more introspective, less prone to the violent impulses that shaped Lucas's career, and significantly more tech-savvy. Plot and premise. The premise of Investigator is timely and credible. Senator Calls asks Letty to look into the theft of oil from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. At first, the case appears to be a simple matter of criminal enterprise, oil siphoned off by rogue actors and sold on the black market. But the deeper Letty digs, the more troubling the implications come. The oil thefts are just the tip of the iceberg, part of funding stream for domestic extremist group preparing to carry out devastating anti-government attack. Letty is partnered with DHS agent John Kaiser, a quiet, competent field investigator who quickly recognizes Letty's potential. Their dynamic is professional and mutually respectful, refreshing departure from many thrillers that often hinge on sexual tension or macho posturing. Their partnership develops organically, allowing Letty to test her instincts and make mistakes while learning the ropes of undercover work, surveillance, and field intelligence. Story progresses briskly but thoughtfully. Sandford deftly unspools complex plot without overwhelming the reader with jargon or exposition. The stakes escalate in believable ways, with each clue leading to another layer of conspiracy. From the bureaucratic corridors of Washington, D.C. to the dusty, volatile heart of Texas, Sandford paints vivid portrait of nation grappling with internal threats. Letty Davenport, a heroine for the times. Letty is the heart of the novel, and Sandford wisely gives her room to breathe. She's competent but not infallible. She makes miscalculations and learns from them. Her intelligence is layered. She's not only book smart but has an intuitive grasp of human behavior. Her moral compass is strong, yet she doesn't hesitate to use force when necessary. In a world where many thrillers still lean on hardened protagonists or female characters defined by trauma, Letty stands out as well-rounded in modern creation. Letty's wit and internal commentary add depth to her character. She's often skeptical, occasionally cynical, but never apathetic. She wants her work to matter, and this desire gives emotional weight to her decisions. There's no melodrama here. Sandford avoids sentimentality, but Letty's vulnerabilities peek through in the quiet moments. Her relationship with her father is referenced sparingly, but with enough emotional resonance to show that Lucas's influence looms large without overshadowing her. And importantly, Sandford doesn't feel the need to over-explain Letty's motivations or abilities. There is trust in the reader to understand that Letty is both product of her upbringing and her own person. Her competence isn't treated as surprising. It's expected. That in itself is narrative choice and genre that often frames female protagonists as exceptions to the rule. The antagonist and the threat within the antagonist in The Investigator reflect one of Sandford's greatest strengths, creating villains who feel all too real. The extremists Letty and Kaiser are chasing aren't cartoonish or ideologically baked. They are well-organized, well-funded, and frighteningly committed to their cause. Sandford draws from the real-world rise of domestic terrorism, white nationalism, and paramilitary movements without turning the novel polemic. By grounding the antagonists in current events, Sandford lends the story urgency. These aren't shadowy figures from foreign land. They're people who look like neighbors, colleagues, even friends. The scenes at the extremists' compound are some of the most unsettling in the book, not because of graphic violence, but because of how plausible the group's operations and rhetoric feel. The menace is ideological as much as physical. The group's leader is particularly chilling, charismatic, manipulative, and utterly convinced of the righteousness of their mission. Letty's ability to blend in and go undercover adds tension to the narrative. There's real sense that her cover could be blown at any moment, and her observations about the cult-like nature of the group are piercing. Style and pacing. Sandford's prose remains sharp, lean, and efficient. He knows how to keep plot moving without sacrificing development or thematic weight. His dialogue crackles with dry humor and realism. Letty's voice is distinct, less glib than Lucas, but just as incisive. The pacing never lags, with each chapter pushing the reader forward toward the explosive conclusion. Fans of the Prey series will appreciate the familiar narrative rhythm, short, punchy chapters, and mixture of investigative procedure and field action, an escalating tension that culminates in high-stakes showdown. However, The Investigator also feels like soft reboot transition into more modern thriller landscape. It's less gritty than some of Sandford's earlier work, but no less compelling. Themes and relevance at its core, The Investigator explores the fragility of national security from within. It asks what happens when the threat is not foreign enemies but American citizens radicalized by misinformation and hate. The novel touches on disinformation, political polarization, and institutional weakness, topics that resonate deeply in today's climate. Letty represents a new kind of patriotism, skeptical of power but committed to justice. She's not naive about the system's flaws, but she believes in accountability and reason. Her journey reflects generational shift, one that balances cynicism with action and idealism with pragmatism. There's also subtle but important commentary on gender. Letty's competence is never questioned because she's a woman, rather she commands respect through intelligence. Results: Sandford avoids tired tropes and instead builds protagonist who defies easy categorization. She's feminine without being performative, tough without being cold, and principled without being sanctimonious. A promising start to a new series, The Investigator succeeds not only as a fast-paced thriller but also as a character-driven exploration of emerging threats and evolving heroes. Letty Davenport is a welcome addition to the pantheon of crime fiction protagonists. Cool-headed, capable, and endlessly compelling, Sandford has crafted story that feels both timely and timeless, filled with tension, purpose, and just enough sardonic humor to keep it grounded. There's strong foundation here for an ongoing series. Letty's career is just beginning, and her arc leaves ample room for growth. Readers will be eager to follow her into the next installment, confident that wherever she goes, the story will be smart, sharp, and unpardonable. Whether you're a longtime fan of John Sandford or a newcomer looking for a thriller that mirrors today's challenges, The Investigator is gripping, thoughtful, and deeply satisfying read. It honors the legacy Sandford's earlier work while signaling bold new direction.